Imagine this. It's early morning, and you're sitting in your favorite chair by the window. A warm cup of tea in your hands, the world still quiet, as if waiting for the first brushstroke of the day. Outside, the trees sway gently in the breeze. The sky is painted in soft hues of gold and blue. In this peaceful moment, your mind drifts back through the years, through laughter and tears, through love and loss, through the days that shaped you into the person you are today. Life, in many ways, is like a canvas. Each day, you hold the brush. Every thought, every action, every decision is a stroke of paint shaping the bigger picture of your existence. The question is, what will you paint today? Some people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment to start, waiting for happiness, waiting for peace. But what if I told you that happiness is not something you wait for, but something you cultivate? What if peace isn't found in the distant future, but in the way you choose to live this very moment? Think about a river. It does not rush to reach the ocean in a single instant. Instead, it flows steadily, carving its path through valleys and mountains, adapting to every bend and obstacle in its way. Your life is like that river. It is not defined by one great decision or achievement, but by the small, quiet choices you make every single day. Buddhism teaches that true fulfillment doesn't come from wealth, status, or material success. Instead, it comes from how we live, from the habits we build, the perspectives we hold, and the kindness we show to ourselves and others. The secret to a meaningful life isn't something grand or complex. It's found in the simple, everyday moments, in a gentle word, in a deep breath, in the way we embrace both joy and hardship with grace. But how do we cultivate such a life? How do we let go of regrets and anxieties and step fully into a life of peace, wisdom, and purpose? The answer lies in small but powerful shifts, 10 timeless principles that can transform the way you experience each day. These are not abstract theories. They are practical, deeply human truths that have helped millions find clarity and contentment. If you are willing to open your heart, these principles can guide you toward a life of greater peace, resilience, and joy. So, take a deep breath. Today is a new canvas. You are still holding the brush. The question is, what will you paint? Life will test you. Some days will feel like a gentle breeze, while others will strike like a relentless storm. You will face losses, disappointments, and moments when nothing seems to go as planned. But in these moments, you have a choice. Will you resist the storm, or will you learn to bend with it? Imagine a bamboo tree in the middle of a fierce wind. It bends, sways, and moves with the storm, but it never breaks. It does not fight against the wind. It flows with it. And when the storm passes, the bamboo stands tall again, unchanged, unbroken. This is the essence of a positive attitude. Too often, we resist life's hardships. We wish things were different, replaying the past in our minds, thinking, why did this happen to me? But Buddhism teaches us a profound truth. Suffering does not come from pain itself, but from our resistance to it. Pain is inevitable, but suffering, that is optional. A wise monk once told his disciple, "You are not punished for your anger. You are punished by your anger." The same is true for negativity. When we dwell on frustration, regret, or fear, we do not harm the world. We harm ourselves. A negative mind is like a prison, trapping us in endless cycles of doubt and despair. But here's the good news. You are not your thoughts. You have the power to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing obstacles as punishments, what if you saw them as lessons? Instead of viewing failures as endings, what if you recognize them as new beginnings? There is an old story of a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors pitied him, saying, "Such bad luck." But the farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, bringing wild horses with it. The neighbors rejoiced. "Such good fortune." Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." Soon after, his son broke his leg while trying to tame one of the wild horses. The neighbors shook their heads. Such misfortune. But once more the farmer said, "Maybe." A week later, the army came to draft all young men for war. But his injured son was left behind. Life is not black and white. What seems bad today may be a blessing tomorrow. A positive attitude means trusting that even when things don't go as planned, they are leading you exactly where you need to be. But here's the twist. A positive attitude isn't just for your own peace of mind. It spreads. Your energy affects those around you. A kind word, a patient heart, a smile instead of a complaint. These things create ripples of positivity that touch lives in ways you may never see. So today, ask yourself, what challenge can I embrace instead of resist? What situation can I see with a more open heart? Because in the end, you are not shaped by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. Like the bamboo, you can bend, but you will never break. Words are like bridges. They can connect hearts or create distance. Every conversation is an opportunity to strengthen a bond, but too often, we let our words become walls. We speak without thinking, listen without hearing, and react without understanding. Buddhism teaches the principle of right speech, which reminds us that our words should be truthful, kind, and spoken with awareness. But in today's world, miscommunication is a silent thief. It steals peace from our relationships, our families, and even our own minds. A man once visited a wise monk, frustrated by constant arguments with his wife. "She never understands me," he complained. The monk smiled and handed him a bowl of water. "Stir it," he said. The man did, making the water cloudy. "Now, be still." The man waited, and as the water settled, it became clear again. "Your words stir the water," the monk said. "How can you see the truth if you never let it settle?" When we speak in anger, we cloud the conversation. When we listen only to reply, we miss the truth. Mindful communication is not just about what we say. It's about when to speak and when to be silent. There is power in a well-timed pause. A single moment of patience can prevent years of regret. Think of the times you've spoken too quickly. Words that, once said, could never be taken back. Now, think of the times someone listened to you with true understanding. Those moments hold more weight than 1,000 hurried conversations. But here's the twist. Sometimes, the most powerful form of communication is silence. A quiet mind listens better. A thoughtful pause can turn a conflict into clarity. In business, the best leaders listen more than they talk. In relationships, true connection comes not just from words, but from presence. So how do we practice mindful communication? First, speak with intention. Before saying something, ask yourself, is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If it fails, this test, perhaps it's better left unsaid. Second, listen with presence. When someone speaks, don't just hear their words. Understand their emotions, their meaning. Listen without planning your response. Third, embrace silence. Not every moment needs to be filled with words. A well-built bridge stands for years, allowing people to cross safely. Your words are the same. Each one either builds a bridge toward understanding or a wall of separation. Now, ask yourself, when was the last time I truly listened without preparing my response? Because in the end, the quality of our communication determines the quality of our relationships. Choose your words wisely and watch as your world transforms, one mindful conversation at a time. Imagine a potter shaping clay. In its raw form, the clay has potential, but without guidance, it remains shapeless. The potter's hands mold it with patience, applying just the right pressure until it takes form, strong, refined, and purposeful. Now, think of yourself as the clay. Self-discipline is the potter's hands. Every choice you make, every habit you build, every moment of restraint molds you into the person you are becoming. Without discipline, our lives remain formless, filled with good intentions but lacking direction. But with it, we create something meaningful. In Buddhism, discipline isn't about restriction or punishment. It's about mastery over the mind. A wandering mind is like an untamed horse, restless, unpredictable, easily led astray. But through practice, through conscious effort, we learn to guide it. This is why monks wake before dawn, eat mindfully, and meditate daily. Not because they are forced to, but because they understand a powerful truth. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the path to it. A man once came to the Buddha and said, "I want peace." The Buddha smiled and replied, "Remove I, for that is ego. Remove want, for that is attachment. And what remains is peace." Self-discipline is the act of removing distractions, of stripping away what no longer serves you. It is waking up when you said you would. It is doing the hard work when no one is watching. It is saying no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you. But here's the secret. Discipline isn't built through grand gestures. It's cultivated through small, consistent choices. Start with 5 minutes of meditation each morning. Take one deep breath before reacting in anger. Wake up 5 minutes earlier than usual. Every disciplined act, no matter how small, sharpens your focus and builds resilience. And here's the twist. True freedom comes not from indulgence, but from discipline. Without discipline, cravings dictate your actions. Distractions steal your time. Emotions rule your life. But with discipline, you reclaim your power. You gain the freedom to choose your response, to direct your energy, to create a life of meaning instead of drifting aimlessly. Think of a river without banks to guide it. Water spills in all directions, becoming stagnant and lost. But with structure, it flows powerfully, cutting through mountains, reaching the ocean. Your discipline is that structure. It allows your potential to flow in the right direction. So, today, ask yourself, what is one habit I can commit to for the next 21 days? Will you meditate for 5 minutes each morning? Will you pause before reacting to anger? Will you choose focus over distraction? Because in the end, you are not shaped by what you do once in a while. You are shaped by what you do every single day. Your mind is like a compass. Where it points, your life follows. If it is set toward fear, you will always find obstacles. If it is set toward growth, you will always find opportunities. The way you see the world shapes the way you experience it. In Buddhism, it is taught that suffering does not come from the world outside, but from the thoughts within. A mind trapped in negativity sees problems everywhere. A mind trained in abundance sees possibilities in every challenge. The question is, where is your compass pointing? A young man once visited a wise monk, frustrated with life. "Nothing ever works in my favor," he complained. The monk smiled and handed him a cup. Then, he began to pour tea, filling the cup to the brim and continuing to pour until the tea spilled onto the table. "Why are you doing this?" the young man exclaimed. The monk replied, "Like this cup, your mind is already full of doubt, fear, and negativity. To receive new possibilities, you must first empty the old. This is the power of shifting your mindset. Your greatest enemy is not the world. It is the story you tell yourself about the world. You might say, 'I'm too old to change,' or 'I've failed too many times.' But are these facts or just beliefs you've repeated so often that they feel like facts? The mind clings to familiar patterns, even when they cause pain. But the moment you question them, you create space for something new. Imagine your thoughts as a garden. Fear, doubt, and resentment are weeds. If left unchecked, they spread, choking out everything else. But here's the twist. Your mindset is not fixed. You can cultivate it, like a gardener pulling weeds and planting new seeds. Every time you replace a negative thought with a positive one, you plant a new seed. Every time you practice gratitude instead of resentment, you water that seed. Every time you choose faith over fear, you allow that seed to grow into something unshakable. But shifting your mindset isn't just about thinking positively. It's about seeing reality clearly. Buddhism teaches mindfulness as the path to freedom. When you are mindful, you become aware of your thoughts instead of being controlled by them. You see that the voice in your head is just that. A voice, not the truth. A thought arises. I'm not good enough. Instead of believing it, you observe it. There's that thought again. The moment you detach, it loses its power. Imagine pulling on a rope, straining against an unseen force. The harder you pull, the stronger the resistance. But the moment you let go, the tension disappears. Your thoughts work the same way. The more you fight them, the more they consume you. But when you step back and simply observe, you take back control. So today, ask yourself, what limiting belief am I ready to let go of? Because in the end, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. And once you realize this, you are free. Time is like sand slipping through our fingers, impossible to hold on to no matter how tightly we grasp it. Yet we often live as though we have an endless supply, as though tomorrow is guaranteed. We fill our days with distractions, rushing from one obligation to the next, believing that productivity equates to purpose. But at the end of the day, when the noise quiets and the world slows down, we are left with a lingering question. Did today truly matter? A man once asked a Buddhist master, "What is the greatest illusion in life?" The master smiled and replied, "That you think you have time." These words hold a truth that many refuse to face. We delay what is most important, believing there will always be another opportunity. We tell ourselves that one day we will take that trip, write that book, spend more time with those we love, take better care of ourselves. But one day never arrives, because time does not wait. It moves, forward with or without our permission. The wise understand this and act now. They do not wait for perfect conditions, nor do they waste their days on things that drain them. They do not mistake busyness for meaning. A person can work tirelessly, fill every hour with obligations, and still feel empty. Busyness without purpose is like a man running in circles, exhausted, but going nowhere. Buddhism teaches the power of impermanence. Nothing lasts forever, and that includes the moments we take for granted. The present is the only thing we truly own. The past is unchangeable, the future uncertain, but this moment, right now, is within our grasp. The question is, how will we use it? To live with intention means to choose wisely how we spend our time. Before committing to something, we must ask ourselves, does this bring value to my life? If the answer is no, it is better to let it go. We must guard against distractions, recognizing that mindless entertainment, excessive scrolling, and unnecessary obligations steal precious hours that we will never get back. Time is not meant to be filled, but to be experienced fully. A quiet morning with a cup of tea, a deep conversation with a loved one, the simple act of watching the sunset. These are not small things. They are life itself. Imagine a candle in the wind. If unprotected, the flame flickers and dies. But when shielded, it burns steadily, bringing warmth and light. Our focus is that flame. If we allow distractions to scatter our attention, our energy is wasted. But if we guard our time, choosing presence over mindlessness, we can make every moment count. Ask yourself, what is one thing you will stop doing to reclaim your time? Perhaps it is saying yes to things that do not serve you. Perhaps it is breaking the habit of mindless scrolling. Or perhaps it is simply making space for what truly matters. Because in the end, time waits for no one. We can either let it slip away, or we can choose right now to live fully before it is gone. Knowledge is like a lantern, lighting the path ahead, guiding us through the darkness of ignorance. But a lantern is only useful if the flame inside it is kept alive. Learning is not about collecting facts, nor is it about accumulating information for the sake of appearing knowledgeable. True wisdom is not found in what we know, but in how we apply what we understand. A curious student once approached the Buddha and asked, "What is the key to enlightenment?" The Buddha handed him a bowl and began pouring water into it. The bowl filled quickly, yet the Buddha continued to pour until the water spilled over the edges. The student, confused, stepped back. "Why do you keep pouring? The bowl is already full." The Buddha smiled and said, "Like this bowl, your mind is full of opinions, full of assumptions. To gain wisdom, you must first empty your mind. In today's world, information is everywhere. At the press of a button, we can access thousands of books, articles, and lessons. But knowledge without understanding is like reading a recipe and thinking you've tasted the food. Many people read about happiness, but few truly experience it. Many know about mindfulness, yet live in constant distraction. There is a vast difference between knowing something and living it. We must ask ourselves, are we simply gathering information, or are we seeking wisdom? A person can spend a lifetime reading books without ever changing. A single lesson, deeply understood and applied, is worth more than 1,000 forgotten ideas. The mind, like a garden, must be cultivated. If left unattended, weeds of ignorance and stubbornness take root. But if we nourish it daily, through curiosity, through reflection, through practice, it blossoms into something beautiful. Every day offers an opportunity to learn, but we must approach it with openness. Growth does not happen when we believe we already have all the answers. It happens when we are humble enough to realize how much we have yet to learn. To truly grow in wisdom, we must move beyond passive learning. Instead of merely consuming information, we must ask ourselves, how does this change the way I live? A wise person does not hoard knowledge. They embody it, allowing their actions to reflect their understanding. Surround yourself with wisdom. Read books that challenge you. Engage in conversations that expand your thinking. Seek out those who inspire you to grow. True learning does not come from memorizing facts. It comes from experiencing life fully, questioning deeply, and applying what we learn in ways that transform not just our minds, but our hearts. A candle that lights another does not lose its own flame. Wisdom is the same. It grows when it is shared, when it is lived, when it is passed on. So, what will you learn today? More importantly, how will you use it? The choice is yours, and in that choice lies the key to transformation. Money is like a tree. It does not grow overnight, nor does it flourish without care. With patience, discipline, and the right habits, it can provide shade for years to come. Yet many people treat their finances like a field of weeds, neglected, unmanaged, and left to grow wild. Buddhism teaches that true wealth is not found in accumulation, but in mindful stewardship. The question is, are you controlling your money, or is it controlling you? A wealthy merchant once visited a monk and boasted of his riches. "I have gold, land, and businesses. My wealth grows by the day." The monk listened quietly, then asked, "If all your wealth disappeared tomorrow, would you still have peace?" The merchant hesitated, then lowered his gaze. He had never considered that question before. There is a difference between external wealth and inner wealth. Money can buy comfort, but it cannot buy peace of mind. It can offer security, but not true freedom. Many spend their lives chasing financial success, only to find themselves trapped by debt, by greed, by the endless need for more. True financial wisdom is not about having the most. It is about having enough and knowing how to use it wisely. The modern world thrives on consumerism. Advertisements tell us that happiness is just one purchase away. A new car, a bigger house, the latest technology, all promising to fill a void that can never truly be satisfied. But every unnecessary purchase is not just a loss of money. It is a loss of freedom. The more we own, the more we are owned by what we possess. Mindful financial habits are not about deprivation, but about intentionality. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, is this a necessity or a distraction? The key to financial peace is not just earning more, but spending wisely. A simple life, free from unnecessary debt and financial worry, is far richer than a life filled with possessions but burdened by stress. The path to financial stability starts with small daily habits. First, track your spending. Awareness is the first step to change. Second, embrace delayed gratification. If you do not need something today, wait. Third, save consistently. Even small amounts, when saved mindfully, grow over time. But here's the twist. Wealth isn't just about money. It's about peace of mind. A person drowning in luxury but burdened by debt is not truly rich. But a person with modest means and financial stability sleeps soundly at night. True wealth is not measured by how much you have, but by how little you need. So ask yourself, what financial habit can you improve today? Will you start budgeting? Will you cut unnecessary expenses? Or will you begin saving even in small amounts? Because in the end, money is a tool. If used wisely, it can create freedom. If misused, it can become a chain. The choice is yours. Growth is like the transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. At first, the caterpillar moves slowly, unaware of the potential hidden within. It lives its life comfortably, inching along familiar paths, never imagining the possibility of flight. But soon enough, the day arrives when change is no longer optional, but necessary. The caterpillar enters a cocoon, dark, confined, uncertain. Within this cocoon, it endures discomfort, isolation, and profound transformation. Yet without this struggle, there is no butterfly. Our lives mirror this process. We all reach points when change becomes inevitable. Often, however, we resist. We cling to comfort, afraid of what lies beyond familiar boundaries. But comfort zones are like golden cages, safe but restrictive. You were not meant to stay the same. Life's purpose is to grow, evolve, and continually transform. A young student once asked his teacher, "Why must growth always be so painful?" The teacher handed him a small clay pot containing a seed. He said, "If this seed stays comfortable and protected inside the pot, it will never know the sunlight. It will never face the storms, the wind, or the rain. It will remain safe, but small and unfulfilled. Yet, if the seed dares to break free from the comfort of its pot, it will experience challenges. It will face adversity. But only then will it grow into a strong, beautiful tree." Life does not punish us with struggles. It shapes us through them. Buddhism teaches that change is inevitable. Impermanence is the truth of existence. Everything shifts. Everything moves forward and nothing remains the same. When we resist this truth, we suffer. But when we embrace it, we experience freedom. Growth demands courage. It requires stepping into the unknown, accepting temporary discomfort as part of a greater journey. Failure is not a defeat, but a vital part of growth. Every setback, every disappointment, every challenge is simply another cocoon. Uncomfortable, yet transformative. The caterpillar does not resent its struggle. It trusts the process, even when the outcome is unclear. To grow, we must willingly step into discomfort each day. We must embrace opportunities to learn, to change, to evolve. Whether it is learning a new skill, confronting an old fear, or simply being open to new ideas. Growth occurs when we choose courage over comfort. The key is not to avoid pain, but to find meaning within it. Consider your own life. What challenges have shaped you into who you are today? What discomfort have you endured that ultimately brought strength or wisdom? Growth isn't always visible. Just as the caterpillar, inside its cocoon, cannot see its own transformation, you may not yet see how your struggles are shaping you. But trust that they are. Every difficulty carries within it a seed of growth, a hidden blessing. Today, ask yourself, what area of your life are you ready to transform? Are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and trust that the temporary discomfort will lead to lasting fulfillment? Remember, the struggle is not the end of your story. It is just the beginning. Like the caterpillar, you too can emerge transformed, ready to soar higher than you ever imagined possible. Imagine a river flowing steadily toward the ocean. It does not force its way, nor does it question its direction. It simply moves, trusting that it will eventually reach its destination. The river does not waste time comparing itself to others. It does not resist the twists and turns in its path. It simply flows, because that is its purpose. Many people, however, spend their lives feeling lost. They move through each day without clarity, distracted by expectations, routines, and the noise of the world around them. They chase things they think will bring them happiness, money, success, recognition, only to find themselves feeling empty. The truth is, your purpose isn't something you find. It's something you create. A Zen master once told his student, "You already have a purpose. It is not something you discover by searching. It is something you uncover by living with intention." The student asked, "But how do I find it?" The master smiled and said, "Start by doing the smallest task with complete mindfulness. If you are fully present in every moment, your purpose will reveal itself." Buddhism teaches that purpose is not about grand achievements or titles. It is not about waiting for the perfect moment to arrive. Purpose is found in the way we choose to live each day, in the kindness we offer, in the patience we practice, in the work we do with care. It is in the simple but profound moments. A shared meal with family, a heartfelt conversation, the quiet joy of creating something meaningful. Yet, so many feel disconnected from their true path because they are chasing the wrong things. Society tells us to measure success by external standards, but fulfillment does not come from having more. It comes from living with intention. A person who wakes up each day with a clear sense of meaning, no matter how small the task, will always feel richer than someone who has everything but lacks purpose. To align with your purpose, start by asking yourself, what truly matters to me? What brings me joy? What do I care about deeply? The answers to these questions are not found in books or in the opinions of others. They are already within you, waiting to be acknowledged. Here's the twist. You don't need to have everything figured out to live with purpose. You just need to take one step, then another. A river does not see the entire path to the ocean, but it flows anyway, trusting the journey. So today, ask yourself, how can I align with my purpose? Maybe it's through your work, your relationships, or simply the way you show up in the world. It doesn't have to be something grand. It just has to be something true. Because in the end, purpose is not something distant that we wait for. It is something we create in the present moment, one choice at a time. Imagine looking into a mirror. Some people see only their flaws, the wrinkles, the scars, the years written across their faces. Others, however, see something different. They see the laughter that shaped those wrinkles, the lessons learned through those scars, the beauty in every line that tells the story of a life well lived. The difference is not in the reflection, it is in the perspective. Gratitude is the mirror that allows us to see life through the lens of abundance rather than lack. In Buddhism, gratitude is not just an emotion or a polite habit. It is a way of being. It shifts our focus from what is missing to what is already present, from complaints to contentment, from expectation to appreciation. This shift changes everything. But gratitude is not always easy. In difficult times, when life does not go as planned, it is natural to feel frustration, sadness, or regret. The demands of modern life, the worries that fill our minds, can make it feel as though we are constantly falling short. When things are hard, gratitude can seem like a luxury, something reserved for those whose lives are already perfect, but that is when we need it the most. A monk once told his students, "Suffering comes not from pain itself, but from our attachment to how things should be. We suffer because we believe we must have more, achieve more, be more in order to be happy. But when we practice gratitude, we let go of that attachment. We stop chasing after a different reality and begin to see the beauty in what already exists. Instead of resisting discomfort, we can learn to be grateful for what it teaches us. Instead of longing for what we lack, we can appreciate the quiet joys of daily life. The warmth of the sun on our skin, the kindness of a stranger, the sound of laughter in the next room. These small moments, when noticed and cherished, become profound. Gratitude does not mean ignoring hardships or pretending that life is always easy. It simply means recognizing that, even in the midst of struggle, there is always something worth appreciating. It is not about waiting for perfect conditions. It is about learning to see the richness of life as it is, even in its imperfections. To cultivate gratitude, start small. Each day, take a moment to reflect. What am I grateful for today? It does not have to be something monumental. Maybe it is a meal shared with a loved one, a memory that brings a smile, or simply the gift of another day. Here's the twist. Gratitude is most powerful not when life is perfect, but when it is difficult. It is in the face of adversity that gratitude reminds us of our resilience, our strength, our ability to endure. When we choose gratitude, we choose to see the light even in the darkest moments. So, as you go about your day, ask yourself, what is one thing I can appreciate right now? Because in the end, happiness is not found in having more. It is found in noticing more. And gratitude is the key to seeing the beauty that has been there all along. Life is like the fleeting beauty of a sunset. For a moment, the sky is painted in brilliant shades of gold, pink, and crimson. We pause, we admire, but no matter how much we wish to hold on to it, the colors fade into darkness. The moment is gone, and yet, it was beautiful. Not because it lasted forever, but because it didn't. Buddhism teaches one of life's deepest truths. Impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. The people we love, the places we cherish, the very bodies we inhabit, all are in a constant state of transformation. Yet, instead of embracing this truth, many resist it. We cling to what feels familiar, fearing loss, fearing change, fearing the unknown. But clinging does not stop the waves from reaching the shore. It only makes us suffer when they do. A wise monk once asked his student, "What makes a river so powerful?" The student thought for a moment and answered, "Because it flows." The monk nodded. It never tries to hold on to one place. It moves forward, adapting, accepting, always changing, yet always a river. Many of our struggles come from trying to freeze time, from holding on to things as they are. We grieve when life changes, believing that what we lost was better than what is to come. But impermanence is not a tragedy. It is a gift. It is what allows for new beginnings, for healing, for growth. Without change, the tree would never bloom. The caterpillar would never become a butterfly. And we would never have the chance to become more than we were yesterday. When we accept impermanence, we learn to live differently. We stop wasting time on anger and resentment. We forgive more easily, knowing that life is too short to hold grudges. We love more deeply, understanding that every moment is precious. We appreciate what we have now instead of waiting until it is gone to realize its value. Letting go does not mean we stop caring. It means we stop grasping. It means we find peace in the natural rhythm of life rather than fighting against it. The tree does not resist when autumn strips it of its leaves. It does not cling to what must fall away. It stands tall, trusting that spring will come again. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Is it an old regret? A fear of change? A version of yourself that no longer fits who you are becoming? When we release our grip on the past, we open our hands to receive what the future has in store. Here's the twist. Impermanence is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. It reminds us to live fully, love deeply, and let go gracefully. Because in the end, we do not own our days. They are borrowed. And the only way to truly honor them is to cherish each one before it slips away.